you are about to see the floodgates opened for developers. We see councillors Proudfoot and Kazmiri lead the charge to say that communities should not be able to use the law to stop development of out-character structures. I wonder what the good burghers of Berry think about this. They are battling a hotel development, and here we have the SIG wanting to weaken their position. Placing a character statement within an LEP ensures it has legal enforceability, making it a powerful tool for preserving the desired character of an area. Conversely, including it in a DCP allows for more detailed guidance and adaptability, but lacks the legal force. For comprehensive planning, councils often use both instruments in tandem. The LEP sets the overarching legal framework, while the DCP provides detailed guidance to achieve the LEP's objectives. How many of your friends have said to you, gee, I wish we had a 20-storey building in Berry? Seriously, SIG is out of touch. They get elected on all kinds of fantasy, but once in, they just serve the developers.
We'll now move on to the next item, which is the planning proposal, local character, finalisation. Councillor Tribe.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I've sent another amendment to CL minutes that will be up on the screen. And we know that this has been a long time coming and that we're getting closer to the end of our gateway approval and the extension of that gateway approval, and that we do need to give direction going forward for staff. And I believe in part 4, particularly seeking direction. So I've proposed there so it keeps part 4, but it adds a new bit about including the, in the meantime, utilising the Shoalhaven character assessment report, but where required, with the exclusion of the sensitivity to change rating. Oh, it's up there now. So I guess the reason for that is I've listened a lot to what issues people had, potential issues with those character assessments in stage 1, and why we can't move forward to stage 2 to make those statements and then proceed with DCP planning and LEP planning to ensure that character is included. And I've heard lots of different things. I've heard that this would potentially override DCPs that have character in them, and that's simply untrue. There's a hierarchy that those people, those towns and villages that do have that, this does not supersede that. This is for people who do not currently have any character protection at all. This is for developers to look at in terms of a nod to design. It can't prohibit development in any way, and it is merely an assessment to adopt to move forward. However, one of the things I've heard that a councillor had issue with was the sensitivity scale rating that was in those Roberts Day reports that are part of the Shoalhaven character assessments, and that they are potentially misleading and unhelpful. And so I've proposed in doing this that we disregard those. So we adopt those assessments so that we can move forward to stage 2 and consider character statements, with the exception of the sensitivity change rating, which is to be disregarded. Most people remember the sliding scale that were on each of those reports for each suburb, and I won't, unless you want me to, go into why those are unhelpful, but to appease people and help create a way forward, I've suggested that we include that that minor change. So
do I have a seconder? Councillor Christolidis. Councillor Proudfoot.
Yeah, thanks, Madam Chair. I've always felt uncomfortable having character statements in the LEP. I'm fine with them in the DCP, but once you put it into our environmental law, as it were, then, in my view, the community has an expectation that they can sit behind those character statements if they particularly want to stop a development. Now, that's a community perception of many people. That's why so many people have fought so hard to get it in the LEP. I would much prefer it surface in a development control plan. I have no problem with it written there. I have no problem with it being examined and assessed by our own staff when they do assess DAs, taking that into consideration. but I feel uncomfortable, should anything go to the Land and Environment Court, that proponents could hang their hat on using character statements to stop certain developments. And it's certainly a perception of our community. There's no question about it. The number of people that I speak to that are in touch with this sort of thing, the average citizen probably doesn't even know about it, but those that do, they believe it is a tool that can be used for developments that they think is inappropriate, out of character, as they say. So I would much rather go back to the DCPs, and I've sent an amendment to staff that I'd like them to put up on the screen. And I know there's quite a bit of work gone into this, even though in some respects it comes from the other previous council, in other respects it has been to a degree rushed. It's just the way things work out at times. But the recommendation, I'll read it out, is to not proceed with the planning proposal and advise the New South Wales Department of Planning accordingly. And then part 2, as part of the stage 2 work on a new land use planning system for Shoalhaven, Council consider the preparation of new or revised character statements with the community, subject to funding and resourcing for inclusion only in the Shoalhaven Development Control Plan. And part 3, advise key stakeholders, including CCBs and those who made a submission during the exhibition period of this decision and when the amendment is made effective. So that's my amendment, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Only a few days ago, the Minister for Housing stated that government is responsible for the current disaster situation we are with housing. Well, I didn't say that. She said that. The Minister saying the government is the problem. And she went on to say that it's because the amount of red tape, legislation, regulations, compliance around building that is almost crucified the whole industry to the point that affordable housing is something that our grandkids can dream about. And here we are talking about character. Another little bit of red tape. As a matter of fact, I would say that character is red tape on steroids. If it's not used correctly at the right place by the right people, we finish up on the Land and Environment Court. Once again, I know it's a foreshadow motion, so I'll talk about it again, but I will not go any further than DCP. Thank you.
So, Councillor Boyd. Excuse me, Councillor Kemp. Was that a point of order?
What have I done wrong?
I've just been put off. Yes, point of order, please. Every comment, face gets pulled at while Lou was speaking, going, wow, and pulling faces. I find that really... Yeah.
So I will ask all councillors to be respectful to each other while they are being, others are talking and making their points. And if we can't be respectful, then I will ask you to leave. Thank you, Councillor Kemp.
Just to clarify that.
No, I'm not clarifying anything. I'm just asking all councillors to be respectful. So, Councillor Boyd.
Okay, I believe in relation to character statements, I disagree with Councillor Proudfoot. I disagree with Councillor Kazmiri. We need to support our community on this issue. We seem to support our community on some issues and others we don't. But this is one that people have been wanting for a long time, and they want it individually. They want it as part of their CCBs, or the CCBs have expressed that they want it. There's support for including character statements in the LEP from Berry to Borley Point, and I'm sure the community group further south in Durras North and Depot Beach will support this as well, the individuals and the CCBs. These people feel strongly about their townships and villages, and they want local character maintained, knowing that future development is a certainty. Existing built environment is not affected. That is what creates character. If the local character is beachside fibro cottages, then the people of that area can specify this as their character, and that will be maintained. And any new development would reflect that character. It would enhance the environment, not go against the character of a place that we all love. Every time we talk about development in this chamber, the concept of character is raised. Councillor Kazmiri may consider it red tape, but it in fact is something that is innate in all of us when we choose to live here. We choose a place because of its character. And I think we all want that character maintained. I'm sure we don't want Vincentia to change. I don't want Milton to change. They need to be protected. I would like to see character statements in the LEP. And when it goes on public exhibition, I want everyone who is concerned about it to comment on that statement that relates to their town and village and make suggestions for improvement so it truly reflects what they want. And I really believe that character statements should be included in the LEP. I think it's important to our community.
Thank you. Councillor Tribe, have you got a question?
I do, yes. It was mentioned that the character assessments would be red tape and prohibit development. Can I get a comment from staff about whether these can, in and of themselves, prohibit development, please?
Through you, Madam Mayor, character statements in one themselves do not prohibit development.
Thank you. Are you happy, Councillor Tribe? No, we're still talking about it. Councillor Kemp?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Look, I share some concerns, like I guess the movie of The Castle comes to mind. When we were having a meeting and I saw pictures of these grey, buildings and that's the character of that area deemed for that. I wonder what happens to places like Burrell Lake and their little fibro cottages and I wonder how, that person's house can stay that person's house. What do we deem as character when there's a brand new grey, black, 2-storey stucco house right next door? How does somebody deal with a character statement that they must comply to the character of that village, whatever that is deemed, or I see a lot of red tape around it, and I'm all for moving it to the DCP because everyone's got a different idea of what their home is, as long as it's neat, clean, complies to council's requirements. I don't think every house should be the same. It's not Legoland. Thank you.
Councillor Wilkins.
Through you, Madam Mayor, it's just brief. I feel like we've done this before, and we certainly have. We believe in character. We all believe in character around the table. We just like to see it in the DCP. So I support Councillor Proudfoot's foreshadowed motion if we get there.
Thank you. Councillor Clancy.
I'll be brief as well. I just would like to know if there's any possibility we could get some sort of a brief on the style guide. I know that that's something that is out there floating around, and it would be really interesting to see if that could be something that we could have a look at.
If something's what has more status, something in the LEP or something that's recorded, a character statement in the LEP or a character statement in the DCP?
Through you, Madam Mayor, the LEP is an environmental planning instrument by nature. It's legislated. It carries regulatory weight. A DCP is a council policy, and a policy. And returning councillors have heard me say this many times. A policy position is only as strong as its consistent application. The council has a real chance to bring in and keep consistent a strong DCP, but ultimately that is going to come down to its consistent application.
So, can I have a follow-up question? Oh, sorry.
Yes, a follow-up question.
Director Usher,
sorry, Director Usher.
Through you, Madam Mayor, just want to clarify, there's been a few statements made around character statements being in the LEP. They're not actually proposed to be in the LEP. The LEP is just proposing to have an objective dealing with character. Just need to clarify that.
So, Councillor Tribe, you have a question?
The design guide that's been talked about, given that this is step 1 where we are now and it's a character assessment and stage 2 is about designing the statement, could a design guide be part of potentially of stage 2?
Through you, Madam Mayor, I think they could either be concurrent or completely independent processes, councillors. I mean, character is a subjective thing. The character of a township may relate to a number of things that include but are not limited to built design. They could be viewing corridors, they could be scenic amenity, they could be the way in which the road and parks are designed, or all of those bits and pieces. The design guide's only going to give council the opportunity to look at putting principles forward to influence private built design, predominantly residential really, but ultimately private built design that may be indicative of the Shoalhaven. The intent being, if people look back if people look at a photo in 20 years, they'll be able to say that's the Shoalhaven, because people will come to know the built design of the Shoalhaven. So yes, it certainly could, councillor, be incorporated into the work as part of stage 2. Ultimately, it becomes a question as to what weight that guide will have for council. Is it referenced in the DCP, or is it just a standalone guide which ultimately the staff will not have any authority to force upon an applicant or to negotiate outcomes with any potential development application?
Councillor Proudfoot, have you got a question?
Just a question through you, Madam Chair, to Director Usher. Character objectives in the LEP, you mentioned that on their own couldn't refuse a development. Can you expand on that?
Through you, Madam Mayor. The zone tables in the LEP for each of the zones identify what land uses are permissible and prohibited. So it's not the actual objectives which make things prohibited, it's the fact that they are identified as being prohibited uses within the land use tables.
So in essence, a character objective could in fact be part of the refusal process for a development.
It's not that simple.
I think the short answer is yes.
It can be. It's like any other issue which we've got to consider as part of the assessment process. So if someone proposed an application which was extremely outside the character which was defined or proposed, well then, yeah, it may be grounds for refusal.
Thank you.
No, they're all playing up. So, Councillor Kazmiri, have you got a question?
Yes. Yes, Madam Mayor. It's only a simple question, actually. As you are aware that we already have some CCBs have developed their own character statement.
Yes.
So my question is, which one are you going to apply? The one we have, the one the CCB has? There's no reference here anywhere that, or recognition that others have developed a character statement. And which one are we going to apply when we're going to assess that document? Thank you.
Yep.
Through you, Madam Mayor, it's whatever council has already adopted through the DCPs or the Roberts Day report the council has in place.
Yeah. So I'll just make a quick statement and then I'll go to write a reply. It is about character statements. So I too travelled around a lot of the CCBs and explained to them what did they think the character statements were. And I have had CCBs tell me that they spent a lot of time and effort in writing their character statements. Some of them have been produced on this floor of council and have been accepted on this floor of council, like the Redhead Villages one. That is not what will go in to the DCP. It will be the Robert Day ones will go into the DCP. So I don't support the LEP because we will have communities out there saying, we gave council our character statement, now you've done something quite different. It may not happen in the next month, 2 months or 3 months, but when we start getting developments in, right, and they're opposing those developments and they'll say, well, you have to take our character statement into consideration, that won't be happening. It'll be the Robert Day ones, and on that, if they want to make a submission to the Land and Environment Court, they have to make it on planning grounds, and we will have to use our Robert Day character statements. And this is one of the reasons why I have said we need to get it right to start with. And they'll write to the Land and Environment Court or the JRPP or whoever and say, well, this is our character statements. This was adopted by council, but now they're using a whole lot of another. It is going to make very much confusion out there in the community, and I've already experienced that when I've gone to CCBs and explained that to them. And Councillor Proudfoot's right, at this stage we need to leave it in the DCP, and then as we develop the LEP, the revisement of the LEP and the DCP, we need to make sure we've got the work done for that. So, right a reply, Councillor Tribe.
A question through you first.
No, right a reply. No,
well, we have very different views from the CCBs that we've visited, and the feedback from the community loud and clear has been that they are extremely disappointed that character won't get the consideration that it deserves in our LEP, that there won't be a nod to design and to our unique character based on how we're travelling with this. They wanted to see action on it, and given the time and money that's been spent, I reject that it's been rushed. I think we saw the first draft report of this in 2018, and there's been updates since, and they have been at every meeting I've gone to brought this up to ask why can't step one, these assessments be adopted so that we can move forward to stage two and develop the statements in conjunction with these. That is what I'm hearing loud and clear, and they want that consideration. I agree with Councillor Kemp in regards to the unique character of fibro cottages being next to a big grey box. Nobody wants to see that. But unfortunately, we have no protection in place against those grey boxes because there is no nod to design. And I do recall a previous councillor in this room who often said, it's all about design. And that's very true. It's something that's stuck with me over many years. It actually is. It is all about design. And unfortunately, we have no indication of design. Some towns and villages do. Berry does. Ask Berry about the importance of character. Ask Milton about the importance of character. They value character. The other 50 to 48 towns and villages, apart from them, also value their unique character. But unfortunately, they've got no stopgap. If we don't include this, there's no stopgap. There's no consideration in the LEP. There's no nod to the design, to the unique, what makes that community unique, that developers have to consider when moving forward, not as red tape, but as this is what we like to see in the area. This is what exists here. This is what we love about it as a community, and this is what we'd like to see more of. That's all we're asking, and we're asking for it to have the weight that it deserves.
So those against.
So with that, we'll use the device.
Councillor Clancy, Councillor Kemp, Councillor Kazmiri, Councillor Cox, Councillor Wilkins, Councillor Proudfoot and Mayor White vote against, balance vote in favour. We'll move to the foreshadows. So I'm mindful of the time. So we've used up to 9:45. We have three of the CMPs to do after
this. Move the foreshadow.
So the foreshadow's been moved. It's been seconded by Councillor Wilkins. Is there anybody wishing to speak for or against? If not, Councillor I'll put the recommendation.
Boyd,
we'll use the devices. Thanks.
We have 9-4.
9-4 and 4 against. So those against are Councillor Tribe, Councillor Norris, Councillor Johnson and Councillor Christolitis. So they'll be put into the DCP, so it's been carried.